Well, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 1:04 p.m. Thank you all so very much for joining us. And Mindy, do you want me to share the agenda on my screen, or do you want to share?
Zena, I'll be happy to share so that you can just keep your screen share or clear. Give me one moment.
Okay.
And this should be it.
Perfect.
First, I have to share. This should be it. Do you see it?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. And we have
Very
called the
good.
meeting to order. I didn't see Dr. Jackson. Is she with us today?
Dr. Jackson had a conflict that she could not get out of. She
Okay.
has asked me to tell you she's very sorry that she cannot attend today. She applauds and respects the work you've gotten done here on behalf of the students of the state of Texas and on behalf of post-secondary education in the state of Texas, because this is an unprecedented model that can set the pattern for the way we do college in the future in some cases. She's appreciative of each one of you guys. I don't think she would have said you guys. She's appreciative of each one of you. She values the collaboration we've undertaken with TEA to get this done. And I'm paraphrasing what she told me, but that is essentially her message to you. It is one of sincere appreciation.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mindy, so very much. We're going to jump right into the approval of the minutes. Mindy, Dr. Newman got those out to us, and Mindy shared those. And I don't know if you all have had a chance to take a look, but if you have, and I'd like to call for approval of the minutes. And if I could, are there any discussions? Let me ask that before I jump into that. Any questions that you all have?
I have the minutes opening now in case we need to make some changes.
Okay.
I move that we approve the minutes of July 28th.
Thank you, Kim. Could I get a second?
I second.
Thank you, Rod. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Thank you. I think we can move forward. It took me how many months to get that correctly stated, but last meeting, finally got it right. Let's go ahead and talk about our Texas Cyber Path Task Group report. And I don't know if we're going to have Dr. Newman. I don't know if he's on the call. No, I don't see him here yet. Let's see. Dr. Oser, are you going to be able to give that report, or is there someone from your team who could do that?
I was not in the last meeting that we had.
Okay, is Rick here?
Yeah, I was sick. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So Mindy and I, we have been working and trying to get the final draft report done. So we've been wearing some folks out with emails. So everybody may be just about worn out by now. And Rick has been very responsive in getting us the information that we needed. Mindy, do you have that or do you want me to share it on my screen? I can pull it up and we can just kind of share it and talk it through.
So you would like to go to the white paper first and table
no,
for the moment?
No,
pathway?
the pathway.
Okay, I do not have the latest draft of the pathway.
Okay, I don't think we had, let me just pull that
Tina,
up.
did we upload it? Did we edit the final report to include it?
I think what's in the final report was our last draft.
You and I talked earlier this morning and you had updates to make to it, and
yeah, those were for the outcomes, and I have that. So
okay, so the pathway itself is in the report.
Yes, and let me share my screen so that you all can see that. It's going to be what's represented in the report.
And I will be happy to share screen and let you keep yours clear.
I've got it now where I can just go ahead and share.
Okay, very good.
Are you all able to see that? Can you see that, Mindy? Yes?
We
Okay.
can. You've got the spreadsheet and I've got the Word version in
Yeah,
the report. Are they identical then? Is this what you gave me for the
yeah.
report?
The only difference is you added borders around them. Because remember, I had a formatting issue.
Oh, okay.
So Mindy and I were on communicating with each other this weekend. And so she was helping me and I was helping her. So the only thing that's missing when you see it in the report is the borders.
I have been serving as your editor, and should I become incapacitated, I nominate either Daniel Hankins or Dwayne Hillard to take my place because they've proven quite adept in their own right.
Well, you're not going to become incapacitated. We're not going to allow that to happen. So this is the level 1 certificate that that the Pathway team worked on and presented to us, which we approved. And then that, of course, evolved into the level 2 in the AAS degree. This is the level 2. I'm gonna increase it so you all can see it. The reason you're seeing the red here is we just had I hadn't taken the red off. I think the committee presented it that way and we wanted to make sure that we had answered all the questions in the final draft, pulled the student learning outcomes, which we have for those. And where there was, say this course right here, we've addressed that. Rick has gotten us the information that we need for that course to show the student learning outcomes. In the student learning outcomes document, which you'll see, I've tried to make sure that we noted if it's a level 1 or a level 2. The committee did a great job in identifying if it was an introductory course, an intermediate course, or an advanced course in the program, whether a lab was recommended or required, and if there were any prerequisites. So we wanted to make sure we captured that information.
Before we go on,
Mhm.
may I ask a couple of clarifying questions? One, the student learning outcomes and course descriptions are one of the products we will share with TEA as they begin again their work on the cybersecurity piece. Am I right about that?
Is that a question for Zena?
That's a question for Zena or Jennifer or anyone else who would know.
That was my understanding.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Second question, what is this level 2 certificate's name? Level 1 is computer maintenance. What is level 2?
On our document, I have to go back and look at the document. We do have the name on there for the document. I just didn't add it. I hadn't added it here. When Rick sent us the information, he gave me the name, and I think I posted it in that Word version. I probably should have brought up the Word version. And I'll tell you that as soon as I stop sharing the screen.
Okay, I still have a question mark by it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty. And then the AAS degree, I'm going to increase the screen. So we added the second 2 final semesters for the AAS degree. And here again, these were courses that the committee listed as elective courses for the program. And that's what Rick and I have been working on. He's been getting me the course descriptions and the outcomes, and I've built those into our template for the student learning outcomes that will go into our document. So let me stop sharing here. And
I have another question.
okay,
We have an ITSE XXX network protocol analysis. new recommended course under development. Do we have a course description, draft course description and learning outcomes for that course yet?
And what is that course again?
ITSY, number undefined, network protocol analysis.
Yes, hold on one second.
Wireshark, TCP dump.
Network, we have a network defense and countermeasures. Is that it? No.
It is it's the last course on the elective list. I don't see a course to be developed in the AAS curriculum, but it's the last one on the elective list. And let me just elaborate a little bit on why I'm asking the question. When we create a new WECM course, as faculty will be aware, as Enid, I'm sure you're aware, a model for that course goes before the WECM Advisory Committee, which then either approves it as is or calls a course workshop to tweak the description. And of course, the course workshop would be subject matter experts and could by invitation include those who develop the model, would necessarily include, I think. But we'll need a model course to go from, to take to WECM, if we want this in the elective list.
Okay, and probably that's a response that would come from Dr. Newman or Rick.
Okay.
Because what I've been doing, and I can share with you my screen, that because as Rick has sent me this information, I've taken the courses off my list. And this is not the final document that's in the report, but it will be when we get it approved. I'll share my screen again. I may be jumping ahead a little bit, but it's response to your questions. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we had asked for not just the program learning outcomes, which we have placed in the document, but also student learning outcomes for each one of these courses. And so that's what we have here. And I wanted to make sure I captured all of the information that came from the Pathway team in terms of the course rubric and number, the course title, the course level, any prerequisite information, end of course outcomes, and if there's anything specific like this Cisco licensing certification requirement. And so I still need to try to make sure that I needed to ask Rick, and if we need to list these by order of the degree program, list them by alphabetical order, what's the best way to do it? And so I may have to go back and rearrange these a little bit. But we captured all of these courses that have come from the team. And so they will be ready to go really by the end of the day after I verify with Rick a couple of courses. Those that he just recently sent to me, I've updated. Here's one that's a good example. He listed as ITSY 2430. And so it's a 4-hour course. And so my question was, should this be 2330? And the degree plan is listed as 2330. So we'll need to clarify that. And then further down here, I think on the degree plan, this one right here is listed as 2386, and he decreased it to 2286. So if we switch those out, then we're still within that 60-hour maximum hours. I just wanted to verify with him that that's what the intent is. So whatever we're putting here is going to be reflected in the degree plan. And I will get that from him. So in answer to your question, I've taken away all the courses that we are not going to, that we've already addressed with the course descriptions. I need a couple of end of course outcomes, which I'll get from him. And I think this may be the course that you were talking about here, Mindy. And so I just noted it as a question mark that we still needed to figure that out. Here we have ITSY 2386, but it's listed as 2286, so I left that there. These courses here, the capstone forensics and this ethics law and cybersecurity, I just need to verify whether or not we're going to have those as elective courses or not. But otherwise, this document, just to make a few quick edits after I confirm with Rick and get these end of course outcomes, it will be ready to go.
Okay, since we don't have the final version here before us, since we still have details to iron out, do we have something that this committee can approve? Does this committee need to make calls on the details that still need to be ironed out as part of the deliberations today?
Well, I don't, if you feel like we need to wait before we have a vote, I think an email vote would suffice once I get it all corrected. I was hoping that Rick would be on the call and then I could quickly finish all this up before
Can you contact Rick?
I don't have, well, I don't have his cell phone number right in front of me. Is Dr. Newman, he's still not here? Was there anyone else who worked with them? Rod, did you work with them on this?
No, I did not work with them on this. I was on the last meeting, but I didn't work with them one-on-one with this.
Okay.
The menu is correct that the Wireshark course, the protocol analysis course, came out of a discussion that we had with Greg Newman. And that was course they're developing at Collin.
Okay, let me, if you text Rick, then I can text Dr. Newman and ask him if he can pop in. He's probably in the meeting.
I've just asked him, why don't you just go ahead and text him too, to send the point home.
Okay, all right, I'll do that.
And let me ask Jennifer while we're I'm glad this is not an advisory committee meeting, open meeting. We would be very limited in how we could respond to this right now. But I wanted to ask Jennifer, these course descriptions and LOs, what order would be better for TEA? We could order these one way for the pathway document and any way we need to for TEA.
I think it would be helpful to maybe the courses that, and I can do this on my own, but if you're asking, the courses that were aligned in the level 1 certificate to the program of study courses, it would be nice if this document could just have a little asterisk stating that program of study course that it is aligned to. So that way, I'm assuming for level 2 and the associate's degree that we're going to kind of leave it up to an independent discussion between a high school and a college as to decide where their connections and what summer programs are going to be established to develop if a school can get a level 2 or an associate's or close to an associate's within a high school career, within the high school timeline. Is that correct? Because I know, in level 1, we listed program of study courses, but in the level 2 and the associates, that's kind of been left off.
Is that correct, task group members? Zena?
So on the level 2, they didn't note as much the alignment for the high school courses. And I'm not sure if that's because there aren't enough. So it would have shown up on the first level of those courses, because that's essentially the level 1 sequence, the first and second semester. But when it went into the level 2, I just wasn't sure if there weren't enough or there weren't those courses at the secondary level that would align.
Right, so that's where I want to make sure and address with the TEEPS committee is, does a new course need to be written? Or do we continue with the level 1 certificate and then it's, up to the discretion of a high school and a college to work out the logistics of the, future iterations of level 2s and associate's degree?
So let me ask this question. I've just posted here based on your asterisk request. So I just put secondary course alignment. If there's an alignment, then we would list what that secondary course would be. Would that suffice?
That's perfect.
Okay, and then if we don't see that there is an alignment for that course, could we add a statement of some sort that says new course required or something of that nature?
Sure, or, to be determined.
Okay, okay, we can do that.
Fine. Okay.
Make myself move.
Okay.
So who's gonna come up with the secondary course alignment? With the courses? Whose action is that?
So
I
there,
believe that's been done for Cert 1,
right,
Angel. Now for Cert 2, who will do that?
Okay.
Will the task group do that, Zena?
if I understood correctly, the task group, I'm gonna say Dr. Newman and Rick Lopez said that they would continue to look at those to see what other courses are out there. But I suspect that if they found the courses in the TEA's course master, then they listed it. And if they didn't find one, then it's not listed. So I can go back to for level 2. So on the level 2 certificate, we would just need to do exactly the same thing that we did for level 1. And that would give us the preview of what's still missing in terms of the alignment for secondary courses. I'll just need to, I've sent a text to Dr. Newman to ask him if he can jump in, because they probably will have, he and Rick, more details about that than I would.
Well, and there's a document in the credentials that, sorry, I forget the teacher's name, but it's called the SV64 RL version 5-4. And that's, I had sent some emails trying to communicate if this needed to be built out a little bit more, but it's got the courses that were for the level 1 certificate. And then basically it's the addition of digital forensics and cybersecurity capstone. But I don't think that equates, and internetworking technologies too. But I'm not sure that equates to the level 2 certificate hours yet. And some additional, go ahead.
Was this your upload?
No, this was, and I'm sorry, I want to say Brad, Joe,
Beck, Josh Beck.
Josh, yeah, this is Josh's
Okay.
upload.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Nikki. It's a very colorful spreadsheet, has like blues and yellows and greens. It's titled the SB64RL version 5-4.
I can bring that up if you'd like.
And I think in some of our initial discussions, probably, the work that Crystal had done, and then some discussions were showing that maybe like a summer institute or different, areas throughout the year could be utilized in order to get up to the level 2. Not sure about associates, because that requires, like in E-Tech world, maybe a 5th year or that kind of thing. But yeah, if you scroll, I think a little different coloring than mine, but let's see. I think if you zoom like out a little bit and like can see the whole spreadsheet as a whole, yeah, that's helpful. So let's see. Mine looks, oh,
I
scroll
think if
down,
you
scroll
scroll
down.
down.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, mine looks different.
I was just realizing that. too.
Right. It
Keep
keeps
Scroll down
going.
further, Dwayne.
There you go. And
Yeah.
then zoom back in, and then people can read that. So that's kind of a built upon on the level 1 certificate. It's got internetworking to the digital forensics and cybersecurity capstone.
Okay, and I see our secondary course alignments over here
Mhm.
in the right column.
We have that document, Mindy. I don't remember if it was Greg or Rick who sent it to us.
Yeah, and this is saved in the Teams folder. And
Right. So we should be able to add these to the learning outcomes chart.
Yes.
Okay, and then we will have something complete to deliver to TEA. That will take care of that, and we can do this after the fact. Work group, is it okay with you if we proceed with that upon approval of the pathway? That, I think that would call for a motion. Because we've already done the work, we just needed to add it to the document.
And that requires us to vote on adding it.
Well, upon approval of the pathway, let's say that with that, we will approve adding these courses that have already been identified by TEA to the learning outcomes document that will go with. Yeah.
So we'll just include those in, and wouldn't we just vote on it as one when we get the document?
Yes, ma'am.
done? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, great.
But this was all for level 1. It doesn't have the level 2 courses, I don't think,
Well,
for the cert.
I think we determined that level 1 could be the 18 hours, and it
Okay.
is just the computer maintenance in lab, networking in lab, and then I believe the foundations of cybersecurity. I know that that's on the first. So Mindy, can you pull up that spreadsheet, or the sheet 1 that's got or I think it might be on sheet 2, that has the level 1 certificate and the program of study courses next to it?
I have that.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
1 second. Now, this is what Dwayne just had up.
I guess
which-
it was what we pulled up in the beginning of the meeting that lists the certificate 1, 2, and the associate's degree.
Yeah, I've got that.
Okay.
Let me pull it up for you.
Oh, okay. And I've got the Word version of it here.
Oh, okay. That one's probably easier. You might need to make it a little larger.
I'll be happy to.
Actually, I think the spreadsheet, well,
The spreadsheet was good because it showed the courses.
Right,
the
yeah,
high
do
school
the-
courses.
do the spreadsheet.
Okay. And this is on level 2,
Yeah, put it on level 1
level 1.
so Nikki can see, and by all means, Nikki, chime in. So on that high school TEA, so this was what was established for a level 1 certificate.
Mhm.
So what we're doing is just expecting the high school kids to do a level 1 certificate and then move on to the community college.
Well, I think that's the question. Do we have the level 2 equivalents already identified?
Right, and then they also, there was discussion about letting a secondary teacher go
Mhm.
through this process and get their level 1 certificate as well.
I seem to remember that it was the level 2 and the AAS were going to be focused on dual credit, that they would not be high school courses, but they would be the dual credit college courses.
So we talked about would students be able to reasonably complete the level 2 and AAS with all of their other curricular responsibilities as high school students. But we felt that for sure the level 1 was achievable for those students, thereby giving them a credential. So then going into the level 2 certificate, the students could pursue that. They may not be able to complete it by the time they finish high school, but it would open the door for them to then just enroll as dual credit students for those courses.
That makes sense.
So we want the level 2 to be available to students where the high school curriculum has capacity to do it, but we don't want to identify TEA equivalents or TEKS equivalents.
Because the high schools would then, the high schools would then be collaborating with the community college at the dual credit level for the students being able to take those courses. And whether
Okay.
that is being taught at the high school with a faculty member perceivably either already been hired by the high school and credentialed by the college, or the college sending a college faculty member to teach the courses.
Okay, we need to make that clear in the final document and in the final iteration of the pathway.
Mhm.
And Nikki, did that clear things up for you?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Because I agree, it'll be, unless the kid is in a special academy, it'll be hard for them to get the entire 2 certificates.
Right, okay. And then I just wanted to make sure why we're asking for more detailed learner outcomes is as I go to the TEKS committee, if we're showing alignment, say with, CPMT 1305 and computer maintenance, what is missing on the TEKS side that maybe the college side has? So I just want to make sure that I'm keeping high school students up to speed on everything they know. I know it's been said in this committee a lot about, platforms and different, skill set. I don't know why I can't think of the word right now, but I just want to make sure that I'm hitting everything that the college requires and can bring to a TEKS committee to make sure that high school courses are robust enough.
And that's one of the reasons that we requested from the pathway team, the student learning outcomes, so that when you're introducing new courses into your course master for students, that you have this course description, this end of course outcomes that you can match to the course that you're creating at the secondary level.
Also, Jennifer, when y'all are doing the TEKS for the foundations course and the capstone course, just remind the committee that not only do we have to make sure it works with the college stuff, but because we're wanting the Security Plus certification, they need to look at the new Security Plus objectives because they have changed quite a bit.
Perfect. I have taken note of that.
Are there any other questions other than those that we need to get answers from Rick and Dr. Newman?
In terms of on the college end, when students, if and when they get an industry-based certification within their college career, do you all ever align the courses that will lead to a positive kind of passing outcome in theory for those IBCs? Does that make sense?
So are you saying for them to go to the next level, like to the baccalaureate, or it just right into the workforce?
No, like just to get an industry-based certification, like for instance, our accountability list will have to have meet, like 50% of the TEKS, like the student outcomes. I was curious if, let's say, a student doesn't take any, isn't necessarily on a path in high school for cybersecurity or computer science, whatever, and then they get to college and they decide that that's what they want to do. Do you all ever align courses to an IBC and the objectives of that IBC to make sure that they're learning the content in order to pass the IBC?
That's exactly how I do all my curriculum.
I just didn't know if it was an overall, like we're looking at here, we're aligning it to secondary course alignment. I would be curious what courses align to what IBCs. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't know about other colleges, but I know that that's exactly what we do. We select the industry certification, look at those outcomes, and then align our courses appropriately.
Jennifer, this is Lori. We kind of do the same thing. And I seem to remember there being a conversation about trying to not write course outcomes that exactly aligned with certifications, because the certifications change, and then there we are, we got to go back and rewrite course outcomes. So they're written loosely based around that. And then I do exactly that. I go look at what the new, when they change a certification, or I go look at their outcomes, what they've listed, and then I find the course that aligns the best and go with that.
If I may, I respectfully disagree with that. I think that, all curriculum, all training, all schooling should be based on industry, because at the end of the day, once they finish college, once they finish high school, they need to get a career job, and it should be based on career requirements and skill and industry IBCs. It shouldn't be the other way around.
Angel, what I'm saying is because I agree with you, but what I'm saying is like and Dwayne could probably speak to this, but because when we used to go to the workshops, I seem to remember they used to be almost identical. And then what would happen is, CompTIA, for example, would update something and we're like, well, darn it, now we got to go back and rewrite that. So now we try to just use language that allows the wiggle room that CompTIA needs to update certifications to allow us to not have to go, I don't want to go through that trouble of having to totally rewrite my curriculum, change the program every time CompTIA updates a certification. So the good news is, we have courses that we can pick from that allow us that wiggle room. See, now I don't use the CPMT 1305 because that to me it was written as a Cisco course. So I like to try to use the ones that allow me the wiggle room, so that when CompTIA updates or whoever, when it gets updated, we can use the same course. We are definitely teaching so that our students can get an industry certification, because that is absolutely crucial in this field, right? I always tell students that a degree will get them an interview, and the certifications are going to get them the job.
Right.
Yeah, and to Laura's point, the courses are matched to the industry standards. But what she's saying is we don't list every single line from the certification requirements in the course, because if they change one line in the certification, that means we have to go change the course. But the descriptions are written broadly enough to say, and maybe not, an extreme case would be they'd be written so broadly as to say, meet the requirements of, CompTIA Plus, and that would be the entire outcome. But for example, we wouldn't say Microsoft, format a Microsoft 2000 operating system, because then when it goes to, the next operating system, we have to change the course again. But it'll just be update the operating system. But to her point, it does follow the industry requirements.
Okay.
If I may add to that, just to alleviate your concern, Angel, That happens at the college level anyways. We are required by the coordinating board to have advisory committees of industry experts. And that's where we tweak annually what we deliver. Our courses may stay the same. They may have the same outcomes as far as WECM is concerned. But when we meet with that advisory council, we learn the new skills that are needed, then we tweak our courses at the college level to make sure that we're meeting what y'all need.
Okay, thank you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's why we have the advisory committees for each of our programs. And we're required to meet annually at least once per year. And we're required to go over the curriculum, and the industry experts are the ones who tell us if we need to make changes.
My goal in asking was to, like in part of the white paper, you know, a discussion on is there an opportunity to move students beyond the help desk? And so if a course is aligned to a program of study course at TEA and then to a college course, and there's an IBC associated with those two items, that's going to help, I think, a stakeholder, whether it be a teacher, a professor, industry professional, who, you know, whoever reads the white paper or has access to things, it'll just kind of solidify the rigor of both levels of the course and the outcome that is received. So that's kind of why I was asking, just as a, not as a, is this completely aligned, you know, objective by objective, but just so that there's like, hey, they're taking this course in high school, they're getting dual credit, and they are getting prepared for this IBC.
The only comment that I would add to that, and I'm not saying, and it's not to disagree with you, it's just a comment of observation, is regarding the service desk. We're starting to see a trend of corporations hiring people for different spots and putting them on the service desk, so that number one, they can see them at work because they're a new employee, and number two, it allows them to that experience to then be able to grow from that position onward. There's even a couple of companies that I know, large global corporations that even regardless of the position that they are hired for, they all have to sit on the service desk for a couple of months before they can proceed to the position that they were hired to do. So the importance of service desks is starting to see an upward trend.
And I'm just throwing this out here because I just got my degree in cybersecurity, and I went through Western Governors University, and many of my courses, the final was the industry certification. And so I came out with several certifications where I have friends who came out and they got their degree, their associate's degree or their 4-year degree, and now they were having to go back and study to do those industry certifications. So it was really nice to come out with that already done.
Yeah, and that is true, and we're seeing that. We're seeing that as well, in that that folks, after they finish their 4-year degree programs, they have to go back and get their IBCs because they didn't get it from their colleges and universities.
Well, part of that is because, and I'm just throwing this out here, the expense of taking those certifications are pretty great. And, you know, trying to build that into our curriculum would most likely mean an increase in how much the students would have to pay for the courses. We had a grant in Tarrant County College that allowed us to purchase 125 vouchers for students to take CompTIA certification. And we begged students and told them, you know, if you do this on your own, it's a $350 pop. I don't know what it is, somewhere in $280 to $300 per exam, you know. And we only had a handful who actually followed through on it. I mean, we were able to give out the vouchers. We gave them 6 months, and then we added on because CompTIA was gracious because of the pandemic and extending that deadline. And by June 13th, I think we've heard from maybe 100 vouchers that we gave out. Now, that doesn't mean they didn't do it and we haven't heard from them, It just means that we've only heard from about 5 students that they took the CompTIA and successfully.
Yeah, I think some of that could have been contributed to not knowing that CompTIA had in May announced an online testing process, because a lot of the testing centers were closed because of the pandemic.
Right.
And that may have contributed to that, people not taking the
We
exams.
shared all of that with them. We told them they could do it electronically. CompTIA actually did compile a
Yes.
really nice email for us to share. So the expense of it is one part of it. I think that we have to consider, if we want students to come out with that credential or any credential, how do we build into that cost of that credential of the students being able, that would be a capstone, if you would, test or certification that they, to be able to complete the program. I
Well,
don't know if that's for us to decide here at this time, but certainly something that is worth thinking about.
When on the high school side, they get reimbursed for one test throughout their high school career. So, and it's, there's components in place to make sure that students are getting the IBCs aligned with their program of study. So if these increase in numbers and teachers see that this course is aligned to this college course, which is possibly aligned to an IBC, it might encourage them to make sure that their students are getting that IBC before they exit high school, because they can be reimbursed there. But anywho, sorry to sidetrack, just asking questions.
Okay, we want these questions asked and answered. Thank you for bringing that up. So we do still have some work to do on the student learning outcomes, and we'll get those updated and get that out to you all for your review and questions and approval. Could we, Mindy, go to the white paper report?
Yeah, yes, we can now. Do you want to view the report? Are we going to come back to the cybersecurity pathway? Where are we?
So we've just had that cybersecurity pathway discussion. We know we still need to get a little more information from
All right.
Gregory and Rick, and I'll work with them on that. But I think just having a view of the report will give everybody a sense of where we are.
Let us take a look then.
Definitely how close
And
we are.
I apologize. I was responding to an email. Okay, I have the report open. Do you want to start at the top or proceed straight to the recommendations?
No, could you open it up and let's look at the flow, make sure that we, in terms of our flow of presenting the work that we've done, if something jumps out at everyone, or anyone.
Okay, then I'm going to, oh, please let me share. There we go. I'm going to go to the table of contents.
Okay.
And what we do is start with an executive summary of the work that includes, of course, a summary of our
It's not sharing
recommendations.
yet.
Oh, it's not?
No, ma'am.
What?
Okay.
Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, I must not have clicked something. We start with the executive summary that just gives an overview of the work and a summary of the recommendations, and proceed to give a thorough background of the labor market need. I think Daniel helped define that for us. What a career pathway is, our threshold criteria, a background on the secondary and post-secondary cybersecurity programs of study, and then on to the development and workings of the cybersecurity pathway work group. From there, we move on to the recommendations that we developed text for from your deliberations in subcommittees and as a work group, and in text contributed by members of the work group. And the appendices then are the pathway itself, our membership, the timeline we worked on and Tina's SACSOC credentialing requirements for cybersecurity pathway courses, which we hope will give colleges and schools some guidance in credentialing. So that's the overview. And tell me where you'd like to go, Zena.
If you will scroll down.
Okay, let me just scroll down through. Let me see if page down will provide us. Okay, let me just manually scroll. Executive summary.
Mhm.
I can scroll more quickly or less quickly. Here.
Let me ask everyone if anyone had any questions about anything on the, oh goodness, table of contents. If there was something that jumped out at you that you thought we needed to specifically zero in on, if there was something that we didn't have as a heading that we should. I know we've thrown a lot of information out at you in the last couple of days, and you probably haven't really had a chance to review it closely. So I'd like to encourage you all to do that. Obviously, we still have just a little work to do, so there's time for you to review it and give some serious input. We want to make sure that when whatever we submit, you've had a chance to review it. Your name is on it, just like all of the rest of ours. Mindy, would you scroll down to the Texas Cyber Pathway, because that was, obviously we've had quite a few questions about that, and I need to update the information that Jennifer asked us to update for the alignment.
You're talking about the pathway itself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And this is the format that we came up with. These are the program learning outcomes that we received from Rick and Gregory.
And the work group adopted those in an earlier meeting.
Yes. And I believe what I heard Jennifer say, when we look at level 2, where we have the high school companion, we need to add that column to the level 2 as well, because there are going to be some courses, they're going to be the same basically from the level 1. And then the same is true for the AAS. So it's showing that those students are on the pathway by taking those introductory courses toward getting a level 2, and then also an AAS if they choose to go that route. And then we need to make a note, Mindy, that what from our discussion today about the high school students taking that level 1 and matching up the courses for the TEKS course requirements for level 1. But then when they move into the level 2 and the AAS, we'll have to have a paragraph explaining how that would work in terms of them moving forward and pursuing it through dual credit. Is that correct? Is that what we agreed to?
Yes. I'm just going to make a comment here to note that.
Okay.
We can work on it. And we may not insert the paragraph here, but
okay.
But the note will be here.
And Jennifer, should we mention in parts of a next step, the work that the TEA is scheduled to do in addressing how to I think is to create more courses for students in cybersecurity. I don't remember what that Senate bill is that you all are working on.
Well, that's going to be up to the TEACS committee. So what we'll end up doing is taking a look at the current menu, if you will,
Mhm.
and then aligning it to what you all have here.
Mhm.
And they have an option. They can add student, knowledge statements and student expectations to current courses, or they could decide to develop a new course, especially like with that Wireshark course, right? So if then that's something that will have to come out of the committee. It's nothing that I can state yes or no on at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Mindy, for adding that. Certificate name. I need to get you that certificate name that Rick sent to me.
Right, right. You and I will work on that on follow-up.
Okay. I'll make sure I get that to you. And then the AAS, we would also add the high school level so that we're consistent with showing which courses these would align with.
Okay, we have that note. Let's see, is there anything else we said? Okay,
Okay,
all right, okay.
you can scroll down.
Now, we also said that we would add these high school courses, high school course equivalents where we identify them, but we would also give latitude to colleges and high schools collaborating to identify their own matches. Am I correct about that?
You're correct.
Okay. And I'm moving on to where?
Just continue to scroll down, if you would.
Now, this is the full 60 semester credit hours
Yes.
mapped out in a kind of degree plan. And here's the elective list.
Yes. Which obviously we need to clean that part up a little bit more, because we should also have listed if this is a 3-hour course, just the way we have the others. And so if you'll make a note, then I can do that.
Okay, and where are we with this? Are we going to create this course description and learning outcomes?
We are, in fact, I'm looking at my last email from Rick, and he sent me a, go back to that. I just need to get with Rick on that one. I don't see that one in the emails that he sent to me.
Okay, nor did I.
Yeah, I'll follow up with him.
And from there, we are onto other appendices.
Right.
Do you want me to scroll through the appendices or go back up to the text?
Well, and we need to decide if we want to put the student learning outcomes as an appendices, or would they follow the actual degree programs? It may be that they'll stay in the appendices. We put a note here to refer anyone who's looking for what those outcomes are.
I wonder if it would make more sense to have it like included at the end of the curriculum.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Or if it's a separate appendix, it'll be the next appendix.
Keep them together or
Right,
adjacent, in other words.
right.
And also, I just need to say that the content of this document is, Mindy talks about she was an editor, but she's contributed quite a bit. And there were several on the committee where we divided it up. I think at our last meeting, we shared that information with you so that, you know, those individuals who did provide feedback and descriptions and content to go and look at your part to make sure that as we've made edits, that we have not in any way disturbed your intent of the language that you submitted.
That's critical, folks.
Mhm.
Follow-up feedback is welcome.
Right,
We will continue to work on this.
right.
And Zena, I believe we can submit a final draft
Mhm.
to work group members shortly, by the end of the week, and a final version of the pathway.
We can, yes.
Okay.
I just need you all to respond to my emails.
Now, let
Or
me
take
ask
my calls.
let me ask a question then. We are not bound by open meeting laws. We can make decisions as a work group by email. It will require that you review material and that you respond. We must have majority positive response or majority vote for if we follow up on this by email. Now, alternatively, you can go ahead and approve these documents today with the agreement that specific changes will follow, and those changes are known to you and will be done as you know them to be discussed here. There is an uncertainty or two in that I don't believe we've fully defined how the pathway is going to look yet. You may have follow-ups to comment on aspects of the text of the report. So this committee should decide what it feels comfortable with. Defer final approval until we see final documents, or approve today with known changes to be made, and we can kind of enter those changes that you've approved into the record and then implement them.
So I defer to my colleagues if we have a majority vote one way or the other. So let me hear from you if you have a preference that you want to see the final document before you approve. Is that the agreement? And I understand, and I've talked to Mindy, that we're all, those of us who are trying to get the semester underway, this would be essentially our last meeting other than our communication via email. So do you have a preference? You want to see the final document before you approve, or do you want to approve what you've seen so far with the understanding that the edits that we've discussed will be made? Comments?
Zena, this is Stacy from TEA. I would say we would want to see the final document before we approve. We did receive it from Mindy on Monday and we are reviewing it, but have not yet sent edits back to y'all.
Okay,
I agree. That would be my opinion as well.
okay.
We can agree by way of a motion, a second, and discussion, and then a vote.
Okay, could I have a motion that?
So moved.
Okay,
A motion that we'd like to see the final document before we approve it.
Okay, I think we had two people. Okay, we've got Angel seconding. Who made the motion?
so Rod made the official
Okay.
motion. Angel and Kim both seconded.
Okay,
Mindy, you got me as I made the motion. This is Rod.
okay. Yes, I do have it.
Okay.
I just wrote down Rob. Sorry about that. I bet
That's
you.
all right.
did that before.
All discussion?
I'll go with whatever the team decides. I'm good. Whatever wins most.
Thank you, Chris.
So this is Mary. I would add a little amendment that we will approve by email.
Okay, do you agree, work group, to add that to the motion?
Rod,
We need to see
Yes,
some
I'm
heads
sorry.
nodding
Yes, I
or some
agree.
eyes or,
yes.
okay,
So all in favor that we will approve the final version via email once it's completed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, perfect.
okay, and let's Zena, let's give this good group of folks a buy date. When will we have this to them? Should it be Friday? Should it be Monday?
Because you and I work so well over the weekend, let's say Monday.
Okay. Yeah, we're weekend warriors and it
Yeah.
doesn't even involve going outside.
Well, at least, on Saturday and Sunday, we're not interrupted by meetings and all that other stuff.
Right,
We can
right.
focus on it. So I prefer to say by Monday, we ought to have it done.
I'm interrupted by cats, but that's more manageable than meetings. Okay, so be it then. Now, we will send this by Monday. I'm going to ask if we may please have your responses by Wednesday. Would that be reasonable, Zena?
Yes, that would be great. And Mindy, I don't know if there's a link that we can create that everybody can go in, just click on and respond. So we'll have it captured in that way, as opposed to us trying to search and hunt for emails. I can have my team work on something of that nature, or you could have your team do so.
I wonder if we could do this by doodle poll.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You would affirm that you have reviewed and you would agree or not agree to the terms, and you would communicate by email your concerns.
Mhm.
Will that work for the work group? Okay, if we can find a different alternative, we will. But that could be our default. Rod, did you have?
You can-
a comment?
No, I didn't know if you needed me to say something. That works for me. Angel, you-
Okay.
You can simply create a very simple yes, no vote on using forms. That link can then be emailed to everybody, and it's really easy, really quick way to get a vote in.
Now, you say using forms. Is that an app? I'm sorry.
It's part of Teams. Part of Microsoft Teams.
Oh, out of Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, it's called Forms, and you can easily put a vote using that. And I mean, I've never used it this year until someone told me about it. And I mean, it is the easiest thing to do.
Angel, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I will look into that, Zena. and see what we need to do to make that work. That would give us an inside the work group formal outcome in writing. Okay.
And if you need help with that, you can just ping me.
Thank you so much, Angel. Okay. This is much better than Doodle. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Angel. Mindy, are there any other discussion items that we need to address before we adjourn?
I would like to ask Daniel Hankins to stand up. Daniel, can we see you?
I actually don't have a camera with me right now.
May I share your news?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was distracted during the Pathways discussion because I received a very courteous email from Daniel that he is moving on from the Department of Information Resources for work in the private sector. And he has offered Meredith Noel up for any further follow-ups from within DIR. And Meredith's been great to work with, and we're happy to do that. Daniel, I have an email in prep for you, but I just want to acknowledge your service from the beginning. Even before this work group began, you were assisting with its formation, its conception, its charge. You've been an expert in the field, in the industry, and in educational dimensions of it. You know the data on it, you know all the resources on it. You have just been invaluable. And I just want to thank you, and I want to give everybody else the opportunity to do so as well.
Thank you, Daniel, and congratulations to you. I appreciate all of the work that you have put into helping us get to where we are today.
Thanks, and thank you all. I honestly did not know much about associate's degrees before this work group, and I have learned an absolute ton. So thank you all.
Well, when we need private sector consultation, please know that you're at the top of the list.
Okay, I see Chris's camera's on there too, and he's grinning wryly. So I'm going to volunteer up Chris as well. So.
Great.
I was just going to say, Daniel, you're obviously going to explain all this to us on the council in due time, right? Because I don't want to. I've got too many questions and answers, but doesn't surprise me. And again, I echo everything, dude. You've been great to help with this committee as always, and everything that I've worked. Seems like I'm following you everywhere on all these committees, and it's nice to know that I have someone that doesn't make me sound so crazy, and I really appreciate it. So again, congrats, man, and I appreciate it. And I know we will still be attached to the hip no matter what capacity you're working in.
Definitely. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Before we end up, I do want to just say thank you to all of you. I appreciate your giving me the opportunity to serve in the role that I have to help us get to where we are today. And you all have all been awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you all, hopefully someday soon at a conference that we'll recognize each other, in our professional attire, maybe, and not so much our more relaxed attire. And I've enjoyed, as I have with my colleagues in Tarrant County College, learning all that I have about cybersecurity. But I know it's because of the great work that you all have done, and your comments and your content expertise. Very invaluable to the work that we've done for the state of Texas and for our high school students. So thank you all so very much.
And I add my thanks. I wrote a brief note when I sent you all the agenda, but I want to say it again. I have not worked with such a committed and distinguished group of people on any other group at the coordinating board, I do believe. Your level of commitment, your diverse backgrounds that you brought to this effort, and the fact that you stuck with this to bring us something truly innovative. I'm appreciative, and I'm going to miss you guys. I like you. I'm sorry not to be meeting anymore. So we will follow up by email, and I hope you will allow us to tap your expertise in the future because it is valued. Thank you.
The good news is Mindy now has all of our email addresses and phone numbers, so she knows how to get in touch with us. Thank you, Mindy, for your support. You all have a great rest of your week, and I hope for those of us who are struggling with enrollments at the college level that it somehow settles down and we'll get back to where we want to be, and that we'll just continue to persevere on the part of our students. So you all take care of yourselves.
And
Thank you
thanks
very
for embracing the latecomer.
You were great, Jennifer. We're so happy you came in late. Let me tell you that. You've been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to acknowledge the great work that Dr. Jackson has done in leading this team. So much kudos to you.
Oh, thank you, Angel. I appreciate that. You all
I'll
have a
echo-
good one.
I echo what Angel said, and I truly also thank Mindy for her facilitation. I've not been a part of a group that has had a better facilitator throughout the entire time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
Mindy.
you, kind sir. That is much appreciated. Sometimes mean old English teachers come in handy, don't they?
Great job. All right, you all have a good one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Go safe, be well.